It was such a great day, except for the very first part. I didn't think I was gonna get emotional talking about this, so this is like a shocker for me. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I am going to share with you how just under a month ago our wedding day went.
You look so beautiful, and I'm so lucky to be yours. And you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you.
Okay, this is going to be a 3-part series. Today I'm going to talk about how our day went from start to finish, like from the time I woke up until the time we got back to the hotel that we were staying at. What went wrong, which something went majorly wrong, and I will fill that in as well. What I would have done differently, what I'm really glad that we did and would have kept the same if I did it over again, and all of the nitty-gritty in between. So this is going to be a chatty one, so grab your favorite drink, relax, maybe get some dishes or laundry done or something while I am chatting with you guys. And then part 2 is going to be a how to plan your own wedding. If you have been around here any length of time, you probably know that I am a type A personality. I like to have control over the planning of things, and that was definitely going to happen for our wedding as well. And so I planned it from start to finish pretty much on my own. Obviously had input from people, but pretty much like the details of it was all me, and then I had a ton of help implementing it, which I could not have done by myself at all, even if I wanted to. So I'm going to go over in part 2 how to plan your own wedding, like the actual details of it, whereas today is just going to be a walkthrough. And then part 3, as soon as I get the actual wedding video back, I'm going to be posting it for you guys. So part 3 will be the actual video of our wedding day. And I don't know when I will have that back, so I can't say when that will be up, but when it is, you will be seeing it. Okay, just in case you're new here, I'm going to give a quick, brief update of why we're just getting married. Basically, we have 3 kids. Bailey's 8, Quinn is 6, and River is 1.5. And we have been together for 12 years and almost a month since that. December 18th was our dating anniversary from 2009, and then we got married on December 18th of 2021. So we got married on our 12-year dating anniversary. We had made a conscious decision to put our priorities towards building our family younger rather than having a wedding, and a wedding was something that I didn't want to compromise on. I wanted to have the wedding that I had always envisioned. It was a very much like DIY, like not spending $50,000 type of thing, but we wanted to be able to pay for it in cash. And so we had just now come to a point in our life where our family is complete and we had the money to be able to do that. And so it just ended up being the perfect time for our personal family, and that's why we just got married. But I'm really excited because it was such a great day, except for the very first part. I woke up at, I think it was around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had an email from our photographer and videographer team who were supposed to be flying here the night before, that they were not allowed to get on their flight because they had a fever and tested positive for COVID at the airport. And like, that sent the whole morning into a tailspin. I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. You have to have photography and videography at your wedding. I mean, that's how you're going to keep all of those memories. And I had loved the team that we had hired. They were so great. We had Zoom meetings with them, and oh my goodness, I was just devastated. So I went into a very big panic mode, which again, if I would have done this 10 years or so ago, I probably would have lost it. I probably would have become like a bridezilla. But I went into a planning mode. What do I do? So the first thing I do is I call one of my friends from the dance studio who has a really nice camera, does photography kind of as a hobby. And I knew she'd be sleeping, but I called her, left a voicemail to let her know what was going on so she could get that when she woke up. The next thing I did was go onto Facebook, and a couple of days before I had joined the Facebook group for the town that we were getting married in to ask for good picture spot ideas, because the place we got married, there was a lake and that would have been really beautiful. We definitely were going to do that, but other than that, there was like houses in the background for every other shot, so we wanted to get some different places. And I'm really glad I had joined that group, because I went and posted on that group for anybody who was a photographer or videographer. I also posted on a budget brides Facebook group, and one other, I think it was like Washington Brides or something. So I posted on 3 different Facebook groups, like, SOS, this is what happened, we need help. And you guys, I cannot even believe how many people came to bat for us, people we don't even know. We had hundreds of people commenting, tagging people, a couple photographers themselves saying like, hey, I'm not available, but I know people, let me get in touch with people. Like, we had hundreds of people calling around for us and posting for us and sharing our post and doing everything they could to find us somebody. And it really was so heartwarming. It turned a really bad situation into like a just like renewal in humanity, I guess you could say. And by the time that I had gotten to the venue, which was about 6:30, we had tons of messages. And then also I had a couple of my friends who were going to be attending the wedding say, hey, you know, I have a good camera, I'll take pictures for you while we're there. Thankfully, I'm a photographer as well. I had brought all my equipment. My sister has a really nice camera. She's trying to kind of start her own YouTube channel, so she had all her stuff. I was able to call her before she left, and she grabbed all of her stuff. So thankfully, we had the equipment and know how to be able to do all of the like getting ready stuff, photos and stuff on our own before somebody could get there. But first of all, I'm speechless still today with how everyone came together for us. And then we ended up finding a husband and wife who, the wife was a professional photographer. The husband had a 5K GoPro and had toyed around with videography, hadn't done it as like a career or anything, but was really good at it. And they both would do it, and it was $500 more than what we were originally going to be paying our original team, but they lived in the same town, and it was not a big town. It was a small town. So they lived in the same town that we were getting married in. So it was almost meant to be, and they ended up being absolutely wonderful. So I'm extremely, extremely thankful for them for sure. But that hiccup happened while we were getting ready. So about 7 a.m., all of the bridesmaids showed up and the hair and makeup team showed up, and they started doing the bridesmaids' hair and makeup while I went around the venue that we had decorated the day before and took pictures of all of the details, took pictures of the venue. I got our dresses out and shoes and did all of the kind of detailed pictures that you would want, pictures of the programs, just, you know, all of the little stuff, the rings, and took all of those pictures while the girls were getting ready, which, yes, it's a bummer that I couldn't just be in there hanging out and relaxing, but I do love photography, and I know, like, with me taking those pictures, I knew they were going to turn out nice, and so it was okay. It was fine. It was only about an hour that I was doing that. And then when it was my turn to start getting ready, I had passed the camera off to my sister and basically like my little sister Marisa, and they took over and took pictures. Marisa went into the men's room when they were getting dressed and everything and took the men's detailed pictures, putting on their little ties and stuff. And we got video clips of the whole thing so we could send it to put it together into a video. And so as a team, all of our bridesmaids, friends, and family got together and made it happen for the getting ready stuff. My other bridesmaid was on the phone. I handed her my phone. I was like, hey, I can't I can't field all these messages. So she was in charge of responding to all these messages before we solidified the photographer we did, and you know, checking out websites of photographers who were offering to come in, because I wasn't gonna pay somebody to come in and take pictures that didn't do quality work, because we could handle it on our own between us for all the getting ready stuff and then a couple friends of ours during the ceremony and reception. Like, we could have made it work with that, but I just didn't want them to have to work on my wedding day when they're supposed to enjoy themselves. So we weren't gonna just settle for something even though we were in an emergency situation. But that all worked out. So we all got ready. The makeup artist was fantastic. The hairstylist was fantastic. She cuts my sister's hair monthly. So, I mean, we knew she was going to be great. She did my sister's hair and our hair for her wedding. So we knew that was going to be good. And honestly, after we had solidified the photographer situation, it kind of just got calm. Like, it was just hanging out. We were having fun. We had like kind of snacky type foods to eat, and about 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when the guys got to the venue and they ate their breakfast and started getting ready. And then came the fun part. So once everybody was ready, we did first looks with me and the girls, then we did one with my dad, and then we did one with Anthony. So those were amazing. For the girls, I was in the aisle, and they came to the front of the aisle and had their eyes covered, and then we let them open their eyes, and they were so excited. They ran up to me, and Bailey had tears in her eyes. She's such a little sweetheart. And then with my dad, I was up on the stage that we were going to get married on, and he was like at the bottom of the steps. There's like 3 or 4 steps to get up to the stage, so it wasn't super high, but he stood at the bottom and opened his eyes, and he definitely cried. And then he made all of us cry, showing me this little poem that he had saved on his phone. And then after I pulled myself together, that's when we did the first look with Anthony, and he was up on the stage with me. So we kind of tried to do a little bit of a different look for each one. But the cool thing was that my friend that I had called at like 6 o'clock in the morning, in the meantime, had woken up, gotten the message, and was like, I will be there as soon as I can. And so she got there right before we were going to be doing the first look. So she was able to do all of the first look photos, and then all of the formal photos, the posed photos with family and all the bridal party, and then Anthony and I and our family. So she did all of that for us because the other husband and wife team wasn't able to get there till like 3, and our ceremony was starting at between 4 and 4:30. So I'm really thankful that she was able to do all those. The other bummer that happened with that is that we knew it was going to rain that day. It's December in Washington, so Western Washington specifically, it's pretty much going to rain, like guaranteed. So we had purchased 12 of the clear umbrellas to be able to do pictures with and still make them cute, but still be able to be outside. But it was not just raining that day. It was like a monsoon. It was sideways wind and rain. Our dresses would have been destroyed if we even tried to go out there, and the pictures would have been like umbrellas flying away into the lake. So we decided to stay inside for photos. So that's one of the things, I have no control over that, but I wish could have been different. Even if it was raining, I wish it would have been just plain rain, that we would have been able to still get outside and at least do pictures on the lake, because it was definitely beautiful. But we made it work. The indoor of the venue was beautiful as well, so we ended up making it work at the different places around the inside of the venue and getting all of those pictures done just in the nick of time, because a couple people started trickling in, guests, and we tucked back into the bride's room, and we hung out there for about 40 minutes until everyone was seated and the ceremony was ready to start. For catering, we hired a local catering company, the same one that I had found for my sister's wedding when I planned hers back in 2017, and he was fantastic as well. He showed up, and it was only about 10 minutes till the ceremony was going to start, so he opted to just wait outside until after the ceremony and then bring it in when we were switching over the decor. And so that worked out really well. And then for our DJ, this is the DJ that I had found for my sister's wedding. We absolutely knew he was a must-have for our wedding as well, and it's a husband and wife team that I believe for my sister's wedding, they weren't married yet. They had just kind of were dating, but she had come along to help assist him. But at this point, 4 years later, they were a husband and wife team, and she's with him, and she's, kind of runs all of the interactives and stuff and like helps out with that. So he is absolutely amazing, and I will link his info in case you're in Washington State. I don't know how far he travels, but I'm pretty sure anywhere in Western Washington is good to go, but you definitely have to book him in advance. He is worth every single penny that we spent on him, and he was only $100 less than what our venue cost. So definitely more than like a off the street DJ would be, but he is so much more. I still have people complimenting on it, like how fun the wedding was, how there was never any dull moments, how there was never any part of the wedding where they were bored or wondering what was next. And that was like one of my biggest goals. Like, yes, this day is about Anthony and I, but especially for us who have been together for 12 years and have built this community of people who we love and who are the long haulers, we like to call them. We wanted them to have a night where they felt special, where they felt like celebrities, where they had an amazing time, where if they wanted to get a sitter for their kids, and they could come to our wedding and have a date night. And then a lot of people brought their kids too, but it honestly was even a date night for them because all the kids just kind of danced and played with themselves the whole entire night. So we really wanted that feel as almost like a getaway, like for every single person that came to the wedding, and we wanted everyone to feel special. So we incorporated that, and the DJ has an online interactive form that we filled out with all the different, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of questions about everything you could possibly think of. And he incorporated personalized like song dedications, including Baby Shark dedicated to River, and it was just fantastic. I mean, he was amazing. So once the ceremony started, I was shaking so bad. Like I don't know why. I really didn't think I would be nervous, because we've been together for 12 years. Like, we feel like we're married already. It was just like the legal aspect of it and the celebration that we were missing. So I really just didn't think I was going to be nervous. I knew I'd be excited, of course, but man, when we started walking out of the bridal room, we had like a photo backdrop set up, kind of blocking the entrance to the bridal room. So we were all standing behind that as we walked around it to get to the aisle. And it was like almost our turn. So the flower girls, Bailey and Quinn, were the flower girls, and River and my nephew Cooper were the ring bearers. And then I had two bridesmaids and my matron of honor, and then Anthony had 2 groomsmen and his best man. So as they were all walking, and it's Bailey and Quinn are the only ones left, and I'm looking at my dad, and I have my arm in his arm, and he's just smiling ear to ear, and I was shaking. I was like, Dad, don't let me fall, because I'm gonna get teary-eyed. But I was just so happy and so like thankful, and hold on. Okay, so to have my dad there and know that we're gonna walk around the corner and see Anthony up there, and I'd already seen Anthony, so it wasn't like a first look thing, but I just seeing him up there, I just knew it was gonna be amazing. So we walked around the corner, and it was, and like I had peeked out of the bridal room and kind of saw like the guests and stuff, but to walk around and see all of our friends and family there, like, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional talking about this. So this is like a shocker for me, but it's all good stuff. Okay. So yeah, so I walked up the aisle, and I tried to just focus on Anthony and not falling. We didn't have an aisle runner, so I didn't have to worry about that, but I was in heels, and I never wear heels. So they were like short. They were like this big. So they were like teeny tiny, but heels nonetheless. And I just remember getting up there, and once I was finally up there, Anthony and I both gave my dad a big hug, and then he went and sat down. And we were just standing up there, and we had our friend get ordained so that he could marry us, because we wanted as many of our friends and family to be part of the process as we could. So, and he was the perfect person. Like, he did such a great job. You'll see that when the wedding video comes out, but he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he got our personalities like a nail on the head, and it just was really magical. It's super cliche, but it really was. It was so magical. I peeked down a couple times at guests just on pauses and stuff, and everyone had smiles on their faces and tears in their eyes, and it was hard to not lose it completely on stage. I'm just losing it just talking about it to a camera right now, to you guys. And so once we were done and we had our rings and we had said I do, and we had did our first kiss as a married couple, we did the whole recessional off back into the bridal room. Anthony and I stayed in there, and then my bonus mom Tina helped me bustle my dress while the other bridal party members were switching over, and we had kept it to where the tables were set up as they were going to be for the reception, and everyone sat at their table for the ceremony too, so that we didn't have a bunch of chairs to move in between. All they had to move was like the aisle, basically move the aisle decor off to the sides, and then they had to bring like the dessert table up onto the stage that we had just got married on, and then they had to bring the head table out to the front where the whole bridal party and wedding party were going to be sitting. So it really wasn't a lot. It was like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But so she helped me bustle my dress, which reminds me back to where like how many people actually showed up to the wedding. We only had 7 people not show up out of goodness, did we have like 130 that were going to be attending? Something around there, between 120 and 130. I can't remember exact numbers now, but my mom was one of them, which was a really, really, really big bummer. She had COVID. She got a positive COVID test the day before the wedding. My uncle and his girlfriend were the other two because they live right next door and had been in contact with her. So those three were not able to make it for that reason. And then two of our other friends who had flown here from a different state to come watch got food poisoning from a restaurant they ate at that day, and they weren't able to make it. So that was a huge bummer. And then my older brother and my cousin, his kid, my older brother had an emergency call at work and had to take care of it. He didn't have an option. So those were the only people that didn't come. And I really think that's a testimony to like the fact that we have built a circle of people, even though it's a pretty big circle. I feel like the people in our lives are people that we love so much, we care about so much, and they care about us so much, and we're there for each other. And I think that that was another huge benefit to waiting as long as we did, because I told Anthony, and I think I said this in the thank you speech at the reception to everyone, that like if we had done this 9 or 10 years prior, got married before kids and stuff, half the people that would have been at our wedding back then are not even in our lives right now. And a lot of the people, probably at least a quarter of the people that were there this time, were people we hadn't even met yet, and they are people who mean a lot to us. There are definitely long haulers, like my group of friends from the dance studio, for example. Like, I'm so thankful they were able to be there, and they wouldn't have been if we would have done this before. And it would have just been memories, basically, that I could tell them about, but it's different. So I'm extremely thankful for that. And so basically after the everything was switched over, the reception was going to start. We did grand introductions, which again was one of the DJ things, and he had me type out like a script for each wedding party member, and the last line in the speech was something funny about them. So that kind of created the party vibe going. It made everyone laugh, and we didn't tell any of the wedding party members what we had said about them. So we're all lined up by the bridal room again, and as each one's going, like they hear that last sentence and they look back at us like, I can't believe you said that. And so it was just fun. And then they walked out. They created a clap line for us. So we had half of the members on each side, and then when Anthony and I were announced as husband and wife, like for the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. Gonzalez type of thing, then we ran out and did the clap line to make it just a little more like meaningful, more fun, I guess you could say, than just walking out waving or whatever. So that was a lot of fun. And then we went straight into our first dance, which I highly, highly, highly recommend this. Especially if you're doing a choreographed dance. We did a choreographed Viennese waltz that I basically pieced it together from Dancing with the Stars Viennese waltzes, and one of the JoJo Siwa dances, if you watch that, oh my gosh, she was dressed as the Prince Charming and her partner was Cinderella. I can't remember the song they danced to, but we danced to Perfect by Ed Sheeran, and I had cut it to where it wasn't quite as long, but then we basically did their dance, and then I pieced together other different moves from the show that I liked for the end of the dance because it wasn't quite as long as ours. And we rehearsed that at the dance studio, and the dance studio that the girls go to. We rehearsed that there a few times and learned it. The day after Thanksgiving, we spent like 4 hours there, like learning it and getting it down really well. I really loved how we flowed straight into the first dance. So it was like, it wasn't just like, here we are, okay, now we're gonna go sit down. You know, like it created that like crescendo of like, okay, and now they're gonna dance, like, and everyone's super excited leading into the very first part of the reception. It hooks everybody, it gets everybody into like the party feeling, like, okay, it's time to celebrate now. And so we did our first dance, and I was terrified because I had never done it in my wedding dress before, or a dress at all. And so I was so scared that I was going to fall or trip on the dress, or that it was going to be too bulky to like spin around in the places I'm supposed to be spinning quickly. And I was so scared. But we did it. We pulled it off. Everyone loved it. That's another thing you'll see in the wedding video, which is definitely probably one of the most memorable moments from the wedding. Like the obvious stuff, like Anthony, I asked Anthony, he said his favorite part of the wedding was seeing me walk down the aisle, but then a close second was nailing the dance. We did it the best that we had done yet, and I'm so thankful. Bailey, I asked her and she said her favorite part was everything, and Quinn actually said her favorite part was the first dance. We incorporated them at the end, and so that was really special. And man, it was just a really, really good day. So the reception happened, we did the first dance, we got seated. Our DJ, he's an MC as well, so he led the whole entire reception. He was leading, asking questions. During the switchover part, he was doing like a trivia thing so that nobody got bored and got up and left, or tried to jump in and help, because then you get too many hands trying to do something that we already had a plan for. And then he released one table at a time to go to the buffet, starting with the wedding party table, then the parents, and then, you know, one table at a time. And while people were being like let go to the buffet, he was doing interactive activities, and then, you know, he played music obviously throughout the whole dinner part of it. Once dinner was kind of starting to wrap up, we did toasts, and then we just started in on the night. We did like the shoe game, we did, oh my goodness, what else? We did the money dance, the dollar dance. We did actually with the girls. So we had, Anthony and I were out there, but the girls were too, so people could do the dollar dance with all four of us, whoever they wanted. We did the kissing jar, where we had a jar and a bell, so people could come up and ring the bell and put $1 in, and we would kiss, which made it difficult to eat dinner. So that was a little bit tricky, but ended up being like a whole bunch of people all at once, and then it kind of slowed down. So we were able to eat, which I highly, highly recommend that as well. This is more of like a planning video topic, but if you're getting married or planning a wedding, make sure that the DJ lets the wedding party table go first, and make sure that you sit down and eat, because if he hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't have eaten all night, because there was just so many people you want to talk to and say hi to, and then there's so many activities and dancing and stuff, so it's easy to kind of get lost in that and not eat unless you make it a priority. But we were able to do that. The food was delicious. We had chicken, we had lasagna, roasted veggies, a fruit platter, rolls and butter. For drinks, we had, it was cool because the venue had like a separate beverage area that they have like reinforced flooring, so like if spills happen, it doesn't ruin the floor, which is really cool. But they had like a cooler, kind of one you'd see at like a convenience store, where you just open it and grab the drink you want. So we had filled that with different like soda and juice and water bottles and stuff. And then we had a keg of, I can't remember what kind of beer, I'll put it on the screen here. It was an IPA. I don't drink beer, so that was not my forte. But then we had a bunch of wine that we had purchased. We had like 4 different kinds of wine that we had purchased that we had sitting out, and it was like a self-serve type of thing. So it was fantastic. Everybody said the food was good. Everyone had plenty to drink. We didn't run out of anything. In fact, we had leftovers of almost everything. We had a little bit of leftovers. So it's like we had the perfect amount, because there was leftover of everything, but not a ton, where we have like so much food left over we don't know what to do with it all. We ate it for leftovers for the next couple of days, and then it was gone. So it was absolutely, definitely the perfect amount of food. And then for the mother-son dance, it was so cute, because his mom had asked the DJ if the girls could sing this song that she had made up and sang to Anthony when he was a baby, and now we sing it to all our kids. And so the girls got on the microphone during their dance and sang that song. And then for my father-daughter dance, my dad is so freaking awesome. He agreed to do like a breakout type dance. So we started like 30 seconds or so of a slow song dance, and then it like cuts out like a DJ kind of mixing kind of sound, and it cuts out to different dances. So we did like the Macarena, we did a Spice Girls, like the Stop Right There Spice Girls dance, we did the Whip Nene, and like a few other, Grease Lightning, a few other things like that. And so that was a huge hit with everybody as well. And then towards the end, it like cuts back in and goes back to the slow dance, and then you end with that. So that's what we did. And then the rest of the night was just more interactives, more dancing, just free open dancing, generation dances, all the traditional wedding stuff. And then for our send-off, which I almost didn't do a send-off because we knew we weren't going to actually be leaving the venue. Like we were going to like say, like when the when the reception was over, we were going to just like, you know, say bye to everybody, chat with everybody. And then we were going to go tear everything down, because we had the venue till midnight and we had the DJ till I think it was 8:15. So I was like, I want to tear everything down and pack as much stuff as we can after the reception's over, because we only had the venue till noon on Sunday, and there were only 2 people who originally had helped us that were able to come back on Sunday morning to help. So I'm like, I don't want to try to be stressed out trying to wake up early on Sunday. I want to sleep in the day after our wedding, go up to breakfast, and then come just do finishing touches and look it over one more time before we hand over keys. And so, so I thought it was silly to like do a send off, walk out the door, and then just like walk back in. You know what I mean? But I was talked into it, and I'm so glad that I was, because we did a snow send off. So we made our own snow, which I'll link the recipe that we used. It was great. It was perfect. It was messy, and you smell like shaving cream and baking soda for like the day after until you shower. But it looked so good. The picture turned out fantastic, and we just had everybody go outside, which thankfully it had stopped raining by then. Of course, it had to be dark, so we still couldn't do outside pictures, but everybody went outside. The DJ coordinated all of it. So the DJ and his wife had brought all of them out. We had a big bucket of the snow. Everyone grabbed a couple handfuls of it, and then he came back in and briefed us. We had the photographer and videographer standing like at the end, so that they could be ready to capture the shot. He was like, okay, walk about halfway in. Everyone's going to kind of close the circle around you, and then you're just going to start kissing and just stay there. And so the photographer and videographer can get the shot. And so we did that. We get to the middle, and we start kissing, and you can hear the photographer snapping shots as everyone throws the snow up in the air. Not everyone. So most of the people throw the snow up in the air, and it totally looks like it's snowing on us. And then we had a couple people like chuck the snowballs at us and like hit us with snowballs, which was hilarious. I had one hit me in the side and like go up into our faces. So it was like poof, like that, and it went. I had it everywhere. Like I had fake eyelashes on, and they were like white basically because everything had like rested right on the eyelashes. But it was so funny, and it was an amazing picture. So I highly recommend that if you're doing a winter wedding, just make sure you do it at the end of the night. And it's just baking soda and shaving cream, so it all sprayed off and disintegrated perfectly. So that was fantastic. We originally were going to do a sparkler one, but we couldn't. I did not know how expensive sparklers were if you want them to be ones that last more than like a minute so that you can get a shot with it. Man, they were expensive. So snow was a great cheap option. But yeah, and then everyone, like we started talking to people. There were a few people, there were groups of people that we hadn't seen in a while just with everything that's gone on in the world. So we caught up with a few of them and talked, and then literally I felt like 10-15 minutes had passed. It probably was more than that, but I turned around and like everything was taken down. All the tables were put away, all the chairs were put away, everything was in boxes. It was insane. People rallied, like not just the people who helped set up. There were people that jumped in who were guests at the wedding and jumped in and helped tear everything down. Where do you want this? Where do you want this? And they just let us like talk with people. So it was amazing. There are no words to say how thankful I am for all of our friends and family who came, for everybody who helped with stuff before the wedding, after, during, setup day, all of it, who just, gave us well wishes, for all of you guys who have come along on this journey with us on YouTube and are going to get to see this all play out. I'm just extremely thankful for everything that we have and everyone that we have in our life. But that's kind of a summary of our wedding day. So what went wrong? The photographer, videographer thing, but it turned into a blessing. It turned into it working out well. We couldn't do pictures outside, which kind of was a bummer, but I haven't seen the ones from inside yet, so it could end up turning out great anyways, which I'm sure it did. And then just like a couple little things, like I forgot to buy myself a necklace, but I ended up just using one of the ones I had gotten for the girls because I forgot their dresses were pretty high cut and they didn't need them. So that worked out, but just little stuff that didn't matter. Honestly, the photographer situation and then the pictures not being able to be outside were the two main things, which are both things I didn't have control over. So it's okay. I was expecting something big to go wrong because it had gone so smoothly leading up to it. And then things that we wouldn't change. I mean, basically everything else. But for us, I think the most important part was the DJ, because it kept the whole day, the whole night flowing and fun for everybody. And honestly, I didn't stress about anything. Once the DJ was in charge, I knew everything was going to go smoothly. So putting some money into that was well worth it, and definitely something I would not change. So that is the summary of our wedding day, the recap. Definitely let me know if you have any questions down below. I am happy to answer them. And my email is also in the description. So if, a wedding is something you're planning, feel free to email me if you have a ton of questions, I am happy to help. I'm here for it. Stay tuned for part 2, and that will be the how to actually plan the wedding, and then part 3, which will be the actual wedding, hopefully sooner rather than later. But for now, remember to stay humble, be kind, and I will see you next time.
Jump into the car on a Friday night, I wanna drive with you. Looking for a bar in the nearest town, I've never seen a sky so blue. We don't have a plan and the night is young, it doesn't matter what